Yo, guys, welcome back to In the Frame Podcast, episode 60. Tonight's special guest is Jonathan, and first things first, let's get it cracking.
Let's go. I didn't know we were supposed to wait on that.
It's all good, man.
That's my fault.
Cheers, man.
It's a good start.
Good stuff. Jonathan, man, what is up, dude? It's been a long time coming.
What's up, bro?
We've been trying to make this happen for a while, but I'm glad we're finally here. How are you doing today?
As am I. I'm doing good. Thank you guys for having me. Like I said earlier, I'm glad we could make it work out finally.
Of course, man. So you did say this is your first podcast ever?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, we're honored. You've been I've been following you for probably I want to say 2 years, maybe a little bit more.
Okay.
From
what I remember, started, so I get lucky on that quick follow then.
From what I remember, I could be wrong. My memory's super trash, but dude, I remember seeing your photos and I'm like, well, pretty good stuff as far as like the landscape side. Right. And then I remember seeing your page blowing up like crazy, and I would follow like all these like the landscape pages that would like kind of like feature your stuff. Mm-hmm. I was like, damn, like this guy's blowing up. And then your promotion size was pretty dope, man.
Yeah.
So
crazy enough, we finally met for the first time.
Yeah, I know. Seriously.
However, 2 years later or whatever.
yeah. So let's talk about you, man. Let's talk about how you got in the creative space and
how'd you pick up a camera?
Yeah, exactly, man.
Yeah. So I worked in sales and sales management for almost 10 years, and I was super burnt out for like the last 4 years of it.
Yeah.
And during that time, I had been actually doing video work for a professional wrestling company that do stuff with. Yeah, that's like
WWE.
Nah, it's local, so it's SoCal Pro Wrestling. But we do have features from guys from WWE, guys from WCW. I worked with a bunch of cool people from there. But
nice.
I've been doing that for years at this point, and I wanted to find a way to make that kind of like my full time, right? If I could. Mm-hmm. So I was pretty smart, while I was working in sales and stuff. I banked a bunch of money and was like, all right, cool. Like, this is a good time to quit this because I'm super burnt on it and want to go try it and just give myself like 6 months or so. This was like
what year is this?
Summer 2019.
Okay.
So, and I was like, all right, well, let's just try it and see what happens. Worst case, I'll fall back and get another job.
You were playing with cameras already at this point?
Kind of. I was mostly doing editing.
Okay.
So I was doing some video work it was my girlfriend's Canon.
Okay.
Like a Rebel T5i was what I was using.
I swear to God, everyone starts with the Rebel camera, man.
Yep. And
that's like the go-to.
She had the like 51.8, and so I had that on it. And it was the only thing. The autofocus didn't work on it.
That's why the 50 is so cheap.
Yep, exactly. So I started using that just to do video stuff, and I didn't know what I was doing. Like I was lighting everything.
But you clearly knew how to edit, though.
I knew how to edit on the computer, like do that type of stuff with video. I didn't know how to like manipulate colors or anything like that.
But just how to put something on a timeline.
Yeah, exactly. Nice. And I could do that stuff. I'm good at like storytelling. And since it's wrestling, I mean, I watched wrestling my whole life. I know what a wrestling video package looks like. Yeah. So it was easy for me.
What were you editing on?
So everything I've used laptops pretty much exclusively, but I was using Sony Vegas, I think, at the time.
Sony Vegas, I remember that.
And it was like Sony Vegas 15 or something. Yeah. So it was like a super old version that I'm pretty sure I downloaded like a bootleg version of.
Dude, I almost thought about like bootlegging it too because I was using GoPro Studios and I never heard about Premiere, but like everyone was using Sony Vegas. I remember that.
Yeah, well, see, I had Premiere before that, like years before, because I used to just make like whatever videos for like my friends and stuff. And Premiere was terrible. Like it would just crash constantly and all. I mean, it still does. Exactly. But yeah, now I pay for it, so it's great. So I was using Sony Vegas and doing that type of stuff, and so I ended up quitting my job and decided, all right, cool. Well, I'm going to try this. Mm-hmm. And 5 months or so after I quit was when I picked up the camera and was like, you know what? I'm going to try taking photos because my video like capability I feel like is kind of just like capped. I don't really know what to do.
Sure.
So I was like, I'm going to try photos because that translates better on Instagram and. That was kind of my plan. And so I picked it up one day and it was October, I think, and went out and took sunset photos for the first time because I was like, cool, I have access to it. It's going to be easy.
Perfect time to take sunset photos too. It's like during the fall and winter.
It ended up just being a super burner. I had no idea. Like I didn't know how to look for them at the time or anything either. I just got super lucky and went out there and got a couple good shots and I was like, all right, cool. Like I'm on it.
Nice.
Dude,
so
that's super cool. And so like, what was the, you say you're using a Rebel T then, and what made you upgrade your gear? Because I know I know you always put your gear on your photos all the time. So
what are you shooting with right now?
Yeah. So I'm using the Canon EOS R. It's the one I've been using for a couple years now. This is my first camera that I ever bought by myself. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I ended up getting it because I was watching a bunch of videos on YouTube like everybody does.
Of course.
You know, the same people, I'm sure, too.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, cool, this stuff looks so good. It's probably because
Their gear.
the gear, right? And so I was like, all right, cool. And so I went out and bought it. And then I realized I didn't know how to use it at all. So that was great. But at that point, I mean, I knew how to do some stuff because I had done 2 little like mini documentaries, just kind of like passion project things for people I cared about.
Yeah.
So funny, dude. Sorry to interrupt,
Yeah.
but like the reason how I discovered your page is through a friend. You did a documentary on her.
She actually told me about you.
Interesting.
Yeah, she was like, "Oh yeah, I've known this guy since high school." I think
Yeah,
is what
since
it was.
high school,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's like, "Oh, like follow him. He does cool stuff."
Yeah,
I was like,
so
"Oh, sick."
I saw that video. She posted it on her Facebook or something like that, and I saw it. I'm like, oh, this is a pretty good video. Like, who's this guy? I'm like, oh,
Why did she hire me?
Not even. No, I wasn't even like doing like paid work at the time, but I saw that. I'm like, that's how I discovered you. Now I remember.
Yeah. So that video and the other one that I did were both with the Rebel.
Okay.
And the little 50 that didn't focus, and I literally
Hey,
had to
man.
manual focus the whole thing and figure out how to use it.
Right. So
but,
what
yeah.
now that you upgraded your gear, what lens are you using? We get pretty nerdy sometimes, so it's like bear with us.
So correct whatever stuff I get wrong because
Okay.
I am not smart about camera stuff at all.
Okay.
I know how to do things. I don't know what I'm talking about. So,
Gotcha.
But so I have the 24-70, the 2.8.
Okay.
And then I have
It's a
I have the
good
70
lens.
to 200 also.
Nice.
So those are the only two
F4
lenses
or
I have.
or
The
2.8?
2.8.
These are what
damn.
brand? What brand lenses? Or-
Canon.
Canon. Damn.
Yeah.
Damn. So man, I mean those are not cheap lenses.
No, they're not.
Yeah, because I mean they're both 2.8. Because usually the cheaper end lenses are like f4 or something like that. But that's technically kind of like a G Master if it was equivalent to the Sony glasses,
Yeah.
2.8.
So
And
so
it's-
once like you pick up this landscape thing, what makes you like stay in that lane? Because
It worked.
It worked.
It worked.
What,
that
what
was
did
pretty
you,
much it.
What did you see that like? Because I know you had like a shop going on and stuff like that.
Yeah. So my thought process when I started doing it was, all right, cool. I need to like try to get my name out there somehow, right? I don't know if that means trying to get client work or trying to just grow on social media and do some paid stuff there or whatever. I just knew I wanted to make money doing stuff that was creative, you know?
Okay.
So when I switched, I had been posting videos on Instagram and I switched to photo with the intention of, all right, cool. I'm just going to rebrand this. I told myself I'll go super sellout, like full hashtags. Like I'll just do it all. Yeah. I didn't know what I was
You
doing,
gotta do what you gotta do, man.
but I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try it and see what happens.
Yeah.
And so I took the photos, started posting them. In that process, learned how to edit them because I had never edited photos either at that point.
Okay.
So started going through that. And once I kind of decided they looked okay, I just decided, all right, cool. Well, it seems like the things you need to do to be successful based on what I've seen on big accounts is you pretty much post every day.
Yeah.
You know, you have a certain like group of hashtags that are different, like with different reach and just stay consistent. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So that's what I started doing.
Oh, did that work for you?
Yeah. It worked out pretty well.
Because I remember like you posting every single, and I'm like, how the fuck can you post so many? So I can't do it, and even until today, like I still can't post every day. I went through a streak where I posted probably like 5 days in a row. And I'm like, all right, bro, I got no content anymore. You know?
Yeah, well, yeah. With the sunset photo stuff, it was a little easier to make them, look different. And then also, after a while, you just have such a big catalog of those types of photos that even if they look the same, they're still a little different, and you can just kind of run through them over and over.
Yeah.
But don't worry, I'm really bad about posting every day now. For the last like year and a half, I've hardly posted anything.
You kind of did go a little
I
dark.
fell off super hard.
Yeah.
But I mean, like everybody, the last 2 years just kind of were what they were.
Yeah.
And it really messed me up mentally, and I just wasn't in the space to care about it.
Okay.
Like
That's a good way to pivot, because like I do notice, like, because I kind of like pay attention with the landscape as far as Instagram, and you were definitely kind of dabbling into like the mental health space where like, hey man, this has been a shitty year. We've all gone through it. You're gonna be good, and I've just seen you kind of like imply like, hey man, there's a light at the end of the tunnel kind of thing.
Yeah, and like the thought behind that was, for me, is some of it is just me kind of telling myself too, because I mean there's a lot of days where I don't want to post anything or I don't want to talk to anybody, and I just kind of force myself to do it to stay consistent for the same purpose from when I started. Like I don't want to completely fall off. I still want to work on what I've been working on.
Right.
But
Because especially like
not easy.
all that hard work you did, all that time you put into just to like, because in Instagram they kind of punish you if you
it's so
go dark.
fickle, man. It's so bad. Now I'm my account basically, it's like I started all over. But it is what it is. Thankfully, there's still a handful of people that, have stuck by, and every time I post, they still comment and stuff.
Right.
And there are people that just found me through posting all the time.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, man, it's not about how many followers you have. It's, you want that true, like, fans, followers that are there to, like, hey, man, we're here to support you no matter what. Like, even if you're gone for 3 freaking months, like,
Right.
You don't want to get those. They're not fake followers, but kind of like ghost followers that just follow you, and then they'll like it here and there. If not, they just don't. They just kind of stalk you.
Yeah, I mean, those are for sure not the ones that you focus on, right?
And Instagram will punish you. I keep putting air quotes, guys. Punish you, because if you don't have that certain percentage to engage in your content, then they won't show it to the rest of your audience, which is so stupid. But that's just the way the world works. But Instagram works.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, I tried a lot of different stuff when I was first when I tried to figure out how to grow, right? I tried a lot of different things with captions and stuff because, a lot of people like ask questions to like try to get more comments and things like that. So I tried it. Some stuff worked, some stuff didn't. What ended up working better for me was really just, I kind of treated the caption section just kind of like almost a blog. Just kind of like how I was feeling in that moment.
For sure. Like a little diary kind of.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. No thought was really into it until I literally went to start typing it. And I would just kind of run. And just when I felt like it was a good time to stop, I would just stop it. And that's it.
Yeah.
And so I think because of that, I ended up connecting with people further than I intended to just by posting sunsets,
That's dope because like you're actually being real to yourself and you're not being somebody else. You're not trying all these like little tips and tricks of how to grow. You're just being like, you know what, man, this is what I'm feeling, man. Take it or leave it. And people seem to gravitate towards that.
Yeah. And I mean, I think there's something to, being as authentic as possible. I mean, and by something, I mean, like it's the most important thing,
but it's
like,
easier said than done though, man. Everyone tries to be something. They try to be cool for a drop of clout right now.
I love what you said that because we've always preached this, be vulnerable,
Yeah,
like,
you have to.
Vulnerability will like attract other people. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's crazy. Like he's opening up and then that's how you get followers and stuff. People like, oh, I'm waiting for his next post. Like, it sounds corny, but like what is he feeling today? Or like, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, you
develop that connection.
Right. Exactly. And, nobody knows what all those viewers are feeling that day too. People might be having a worse day than you or a better day or whatever. Like, it's just something about the human connection that translates so much further than any sort of, photography or videography, any sort of creative work. Like at the end of the day, what you're trying to do is invoke emotion anyways out of people. So you might as well use every avenue that you can to do that.
Yeah. So when you're when you first got into the camera space, so your first line, we're gonna backpedal a little bit.
Yep.
You finally start learning how to edit on Lightroom, I'm assuming.
Yep.
And so like, how does that translate to like are you still trying to get like paid work on the side, like video stuff, or are you trying to do like actually portraits as well, or?
So I tried shooting portraits, not like paid, right? I think I did what most people do when they're trying to start out, right? It's you start working on like, okay, what can I do to build a portfolio of stuff? And really just like, how can I try to do more things so that I can figure out what I'm good at and what I'm not right now. Exactly. So I started reaching out to people, reaching out to different friends. Luckily, I knew a handful of people through wrestling that I could work with on just different types of things, right? Whether it be like fitness, like photo shoots, things like that, like just to try it.
Right.
Yeah.
But because I didn't know what I was doing with photo, like at all, it was really easy to get really down on myself about it because it didn't make sense. It didn't click to me the same way a lot of video stuff does.
Right.
I don't know. There was just something about it.
You're probably just meant for more. It's so funny because like it sounds like you're more meant for videography, but at the same time, like your grid screams photos.
Right. Yeah. It's a weird space that I've kind of lived in this whole time. Cause like, I mean, the whole time my favorite thing has been video, right? I like storytelling more than anything.
Yeah.
And I've learned to kind of do that through photo as well. But it's just the main reason why I started doing photo was just because it translated better.
Right.
And, my goal was to find people. So,
right.
So you found me.
Yeah.
So are you like, are you still trying to get into, because you keep saying storytelling, and I'm going back towards the video that I saw of our mutual friend. And I mean, I thought it was pretty damn good. Like, are you still doing that on the side here and there, like these little passion projects?
So I do.
I mean, there's no better way to show storytelling than doc style.
Right. No, and I totally agree. So I had like a bunch of different ones lined up before the pandemic and all that stuff. And so because of that, everything kind of fell off and I just, nothing really happened. Yeah. Right. And so since then, it's been kind of hard to pick back up. And I have like 2 different like mini docs, similar style, but about 2 of the guys that are in wrestling with totally different like stories. Okay. And wrestling is just kind of like their medium, right? It's just what they do to tell their story.
Right.
But I want to showcase them as people. But I have like all this footage of them from pre-pandemic that now if I like go back to it and try to use it, it's like, it's just so far away. It's just going to be really different. And it's like, so I don't know. I'm just kind of in a weird spot where like I want to do those things, but I haven't been able to do them yet.
Right.
It just hasn't, worked.
I think it's pretty cool to like highlight those like wrestlers, because I feel like I remember watching back in the day when I used to watch WWF, not E. I would watch docs on each wrestlers, and I mean the wrestling career is such a brutal freaking pathway, man.
Yeah, man. There's a lot to it, but those types of people, like, there's so much to them. It's crazy. Like, you have to be a certain type of person to do something like that. You know? Right. You're putting on a show, plus you have to deal with all the athletics, and you have to be able to speak. Like, there's just a lot of stuff.
And then
the
politics as well.
A lot of politics.
Right.
Like, it's crazy. But there's some really cool people. So
I mean, hopefully you get into that, man, again, because I mean I would like to see that one day.
Yeah. I mean, luckily, so there's one that I did before I actually made the one on our mutual friend about one of the wrestlers, and it's my friend named Julius. And so this was years ago now that we made this about him. And my main thing was like, cool, I want to capture this moment in time for you, right? Like, yeah, I want to tell your story and stuff like that, but I also want to like capture this moment like with you and your family and what you're doing in your career. Like, you have a lot of really cool stuff going on, and you're going to want to remember this forever.
Yeah.
So I was able to do that for him. And now fast forward a couple years, like he's in the process of taking like some really big steps in wrestling, so which is awesome. Like, I'm glad that I was,
you better capture that.
Yeah. I'm glad that I was able to be, such a big part and help keep him going. On his journey.
Well, that's good. Like another reason we wanted you to have in this Potter is because like obviously you're photography, but lately your grid has been showing like Surf Girl. Yep. You've been documenting this girl, a surfer, and it's video, which I can tell the story, and it's like short, but it's like short and sweet.
Right.
Like, you get the point. I feel some emotion, this and that. But my main question to ask you, I'm sure other people that may be watching this and like, oh shit, that's Jonathan the photographer. How'd you keep consistent with landscape? Because you still post a lot of landscape. Mm-hmm. How did you keep in that lane and like not say like maybe me, who I transitioned into portraits, was like, damn, this thing's dead. Like, I can't be here no more. But you've been like a warrior, and you've been writing the whole thing still, because you post a lot of landscape stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I posted one right before I got here. Like, So once I had been doing the landscape stuff for a while, mm-hmm. I kind of got to that point too, where I was feeling like, all right, like I've done this, like now what? Mm-hmm. So I went and shot a wedding with a friend that I have, that she's been running a wedding photography company in LA for years and years and years.
For sure.
And it was cool. I went and did it, and I was talking to her.
Love it or hate it? Be honest.
So I've had positive experiences both times, but my body hates it.
Oh my God.
Because I am hurting.
You're on your feet for 10 hours.
It's bad.
And you're not wearing athletic shoes. At least I'm not. I'm wearing nice dress
I had a little
shoes.
heel. Yeah. Yep. It's terrible.
Yeah.
But
and did you do photography or video?
Photography and both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I actually did one this last week too, and I hadn't done anything in like 2 years, so that was fun. But it went well. But yeah, so I was talking to her, and she was talking to me about her friends in LA that do different types of things, whatever. And she gave me the advice to, if I want to do video, stick with kind of what I'm doing, because like obviously I understand beach culture and like that kind of stuff. I've lived here in Oceanside my whole life.
When I think of you, I think of beach.
Right. So that was by design. So she advised me like, hey, do stuff in that lane, right? Do lifestyle content in that lane for companies like that, so it's whether surf companies or skate companies or whatever, you can try to get some work like that.
Well, better place than here, man. There's so many surf shops in town, and snowboards, freaking and then, skateboards, you name it, man.
All those bigger companies are just, a little bit up or down the road. So.
Right.
And what is that called in the Frame Podcast crew? That is called niche. You stuck to your niche.
You niche down. Yeah.
That's exactly what it was.
Nice.
And so now it's like this balancing game of trying to stay there, along with doing like all my outside stuff and not completely mucking up my portfolio.
Right. That's cool. I feel you on that, because like even for me, like there's a lot of stuff that I don't post because it just doesn't fit me. Yep. But the stuff that I do post fits. I mean, I run 2 different pages, so like it meshes with the pages. Like right now, my personal account, I'm going back to slowly dipping into landscapes again, like drone landscape, because like I used to love doing it, and for some reason I just stopped doing it. I started posting, try to show my work on that page. I'm like, this doesn't translate well. Let me create a business account, and then from there throw all the stuff that not that I don't care of, but my work stuff that I could kind of like flex on there,
right?
And like stick with like the stuff that I really love to do with my personal account.
Yeah. I mean, and that's gonna help obviously keep it authentic, right? Because at some point you probably started posting like, you know, work that is for clients or whatever that you did because it shows how good you are, but like that story's for the client, you know.
Exactly. It's not for your audience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
So it just really depends on like your target audience for the most part, man. And so now that on Instagram, like let's dibble back into like social media, like what is your strategy into like, because it sounds like you're kind of like pumping CPR into your page because it kind of like died out for a sec because you kind of went blank.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, I posted very sparingly for like a year and a half, and I went from literally posting every single day.
I remember.
Both on my actual grid and on stories every single day, just going to nothing pretty much. So now, you know, I noticed my reach is like significantly less than it was. I've been kind of like playing with different hashtags and stuff to see what really makes a difference. But I mean, that algorithm changes so much. It seems like every quarter they change something to it. It doesn't really matter what you're doing. You got to figure it out again every quarter.
I keep thinking like, because also my reach also went significantly down because before I used to get some pretty impressive numbers, and then now it's just like, it's whatever. Yeah. But like I always say, because I always try to like change my hashtag to reach certain people. The reach as far as like engagement is not there, but people always find me through hashtags all the time though. Like the last 3 gigs I did, I always make sure to ask, how'd you discover me, or how'd you find me, or whatever. It's either through my website, word of mouth, or social media, which is mostly Instagram. It's like, I just put hashtag San Diego videographer and I found you and I love their work.
It's exactly what happens to me too.
So it does work.
Yeah.
And when it comes to like translating to like real concrete money, it's like, what do you want? Do you want to get paid, or do you want likes?
Right. And I mean, they're both good for different things, right? So, but what I have noticed is the more likes you get, like when your impressions and everything are really, really high, you also get a lot of like DMs and requests for work that really go nowhere. You know, like
that is true.
So like the audience starts to like shift so much, you know, and luckily I think now that I'm posting less and I have less like constant engagement, surprisingly the engagement has actually been more like fruitful.
Okay.
You know, like it's people that are more into the work again, because that kind of fell off too. Like my account went from, you know, like 1,000 followers to 6,000 followers in like 2 months or 3 months or something crazy. Yeah, I literally would wake up and be like, what is happening every day? Yeah. But as that happened, it really kind of messed a lot of things up too. So like I kind of had to start all over again, over and over and over and over. Like,
it's like a never-ending battle when it comes to social media, though, man. But it's what you got to do, man. You got to play the game, man.
Yeah. And so like now, like all I'm really doing is like I'm starting to post again, right, to just get back familiar with people that, you know, haven't seen me in a while,
right?
And then I started posting more reels, just because I like doing video more, anyways, and trying to keep on that same theme.
That's so interesting. I would never have thought that you love to do video that much, man, because it doesn't. I would, from the outside in, it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, and it's been kind of a weird thing for me too, right? Because as I've continued to try to grow and do more video work, people always ask for your Instagram. And like you look at my Instagram, it doesn't tell you that I do video, right? And so that's why Reels were kind of more of a focus for me. Because before, when I was posting stuff, Reels didn't even exist, you know? So I was posting 15-second videos, that same type of stuff, but like just on stories.
Yeah, that just as like 24 hours.
Exactly, just like mock advertisements, whatever. And I could put them on highlights, but nobody looks at highlights. They just don't. They're just there in case someone really wants to deep dive into you.
I use the highlights are usually just for me, so I could look back to like what I've done in the past year.
Yeah.
So I do want to dig in about when you were doing your whole selling online. If like, let's say there's a landscaper listening, it's like a hardcore
landscape worker or what, man?
Like they sell prints. They want to do prints, right? That's their passion. Like I want to do prints. Was when you were doing it, did you find a lot of like income, or was that more of like hit or miss,
or like side money, I guess?
Yeah. So it really was very up and down, right? So when I first started selling prints, I did prints just based on like recommendation from people.
For sure.
People were like, "Hey, do you sell prints? And if not, or if you do, you know, I'd like to get this or that, whatever." Cool. But I didn't know whatever. Nobody that I knew at the time was selling prints. Like I networked on Instagram and all the other landscape photographers here. Like nobody was doing them.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, well, I got to try to figure this out. So I ordered some prints from like Snapfish, just like one of those websites, you know, and like the prints were cheap, but like they looked pretty good, and I was happy with it. So I dressed them up a little.
These ones are for Costco, man.
Hey, Costco has nice prints.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, but they're also a little more expensive. Snapfish is cheap.
See, I wouldn't know. Like, Kristen, my girlfriend, she does all the prints for me, and when I think of Costco, I don't think of like expensive. I just think of like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, like they're not like expensive compared to expensive places.
Okay,
but they're not cheap either.
Gotcha.
You know? And I was getting cheap ones.
Gotcha.
Just because I wanted to see what they looked like at first. You know, it was mostly just tests.
For sure.
So the first thing I did is I ordered like 100 prints, just of various photos that I thought I might like to have printed to see what they would look like, because I didn't even know if the edits would look good in print.
Right.
And I didn't know what I was doing, you know.
And how many megapixels is your camera?
Oh, 30, I think. I don't know. But a lot of the pictures that I'm printing, so
USR, I think.
What was your
probably like 24-ish?
What was your popular size? Like what did you use?
I mostly sold like if I was doing it and I was selling the actual print as opposed to buying from the website.
Yeah.
I was selling more like 8x10.
Okay.
The actual website was a lot more of 11x14, and that was kind of it. Some 16x20 here and there, but nothing bigger than that, really.
For sure.
So, but yeah, so I just printed like 100 photos and a bunch of various ones. And I was like, cool, I'm just going to try to sell them like on my own. So I started doing like the Artist Alley thing.
Yeah.
I did that a couple times, and surprisingly, I did pretty well. Yeah. Luckily for me, though, I have a sales background. So it's easier for me than it is for most people. You know, a lot of people that do creative. Yeah, a lot of people that have that do creative work.
They can't talk to a human being.
Exactly. That's like not their thing. They just sitting there.
I'm an artist.
Someone will come up and ask a question, and they'll give them a really short answer, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's not
the way.
That's not me.
I was talking to another creative the other day that I shot with, and you need to put like 2 different caps, like your creative cap, and you got to put your business cap too. Like you need to play both sides of the game if you want to make your creative passion financially good.
Yeah, if you want it to work realistically. Yeah. I mean, otherwise you might just get lucky, but you're going to take a long time trying to get lucky.
Or you're just a freaking you do it as a hobby. And there's nothing wrong with that
and
too.
That's totally cool too, because that's your plan then, you know?
Yeah. Right.
But if your plan's to make money.
Yeah, and that's a good way, because every creative out there, I mean, I started off, sometimes I'm like, dude, my photos are so fire, I don't need to freaking become a salesman. It just speaks for itself. But the reality is it doesn't. Right. And I noticed that because I sold prints and I was like, I didn't do no sales or anything.
Yeah.
I was like, man, my photos are fire. My photos are fire. They're going to sell them there, and they didn't.
Right.
So going back to that, did that take off, or so what happened?
So basically, every time I was at Artist Alley selling, right, I outsold pretty much everyone around me.
Nice.
And it's not because my work was that much better. It's because I just knew how to talk to people, and like I knew my work was good enough, you know. So if they liked me, they would buy the photo, you know.
Yeah.
And so I kind of continued to do the same thing when I actually created like the online store, right? Through the same process, really, right? This whole time I've been spending months and months and months getting people to not only like my work, but like me, because I'm being honest on the platform, you know? Mm-hmm. And so people are already invested in me and my work. So by the time I launched the online store, my thought was just, okay, cool. Well, if this is all going to be done just on the back end and I don't have to think about it, even if I'm losing a lot of profit, that's fine, because I'm not doing anything. Mm-hmm. I'm literally just updating the store. So once I launched the store, I mean, by what I expected, I definitely exceeded my expectations. Mm-hmm. You know, I think I did like $800 on the first like day or two. And I was like, oh, like this is really good.
We got something going on.
Yeah, this is really good. Now, obviously that didn't stay up, right? That stuff's going to come and go. But I mean, I never had a month where, you know, I didn't make money off of it. So that was cool. Like I was stoked on that.
All right. So this whole shop thing was basically like a passive income type of thing?
Yeah. So my thought behind it was, I think I read some like quote on Instagram or something, and it was talking about how, you know, most people who are successful have multiple streams of income. I think it was like 5 or something.
5 or 7.
Yeah. And I was like, all right, cool. Well, let's start working on that. Right. So I have like my income from the actual like photo shoots I do. And then I have income from video stuff that I do. And now I can create passive income through prints. Mm-hmm. So I was like, all right, cool. Like that's solid. So yeah, I launched the store and did really well at first, and it continued to do decent. Like I said, better than I expected, and it was completely passive, so I was totally fine with that.
Is this all organic, or are you like doing some sort of social ads?
I didn't do any sort of like paid advertisements on Instagram or anything like that.
You're in that space that you would think that why not throw a couple $100 here and there?
So the most I did in terms of paid stuff on Instagram, I would literally, I think my budget, right, that I set for myself was like $10 a month. Okay. I never ran anything more than $10 a month, and it was only like if I thought like my engagement was getting weird or something.
For sure.
Okay. But there was never like a real intention of like paying to make anything from it. It was just like let's just sprinkle it and see if it changes my numbers.
For sure.
Because I worked in sales so long, I read numbers really well and I do projections and stuff like that really easy. So
that's good.
I was just focusing on, converting clicks and doing things like that to really make sure that everything was effective.
Right.
So I tracked insights a lot and stuff. But yeah, once it came to the print shop, it was just like, all right, if this is going to be totally passive stuff, I don't need to really go too crazy. I'll just put it in my bio and whatever, right? So the more people I find, cool, they'll come do this. But I didn't really see a point in advertising the shop itself because if they don't know me, they're not going to buy from me anyways. There's 1,000 shops that are probably running ads, and I don't know if my work's as good as theirs. So why waste my time or money? Right. So I just continued to focus on getting people to like me, and then eventually try to convert those clicks into the follows on the page, and then website clicks and that type of stuff.
Okay. I mean, that's pretty good. You're pretty much essentially creating a funnel.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one question I do want to ask you: when you go into these sessions or whatever you want to call it, how do you what's your inspirations? Sessions for landscapes.
Oh,
you still do them
like photo shoots.
Is it just I'm gonna? Because me and you have, we try to shoot together landscapes. We talked about and stuff. Nah, the weather's not good. I'm like, damn, that's true. We live by the coast, so it gets marine layer quick. Quick. It could last a whole day. You never know if it's gonna burn off or whatever. But when you do your shoots, what's your mentality going into the beach? Or are you looking for a specific thing?
Or is it a sense of therapy? So, you don't think much?
Full transparency. Most of the time, there's nothing running through my head. Sometimes I'll go out there with the intent of I just need to take photos.
Sure.
And the whole time I'm there, there's not really any active thinking. It's kind of almost I guess it could be a meditation almost. It's very I don't know how to say it other than it's just very blank.
Or you're you're pretty much in the moment.
I'm just kind of in the moment, and just it is what it is, and it's cool. I usually feel pretty good afterwards, but I mean, there's no real thought or intention when I go out. I don't go out thinking all right, cool, I'm going to look for this type of shot, or I really want to do something with these colors. The environment changes so much that I don't think there's really a point in me trying to plan it. Yeah. A lot of times I don't even know what days I'm going to go. I literally just look outside.
Right.
I'll go on a jog or something, and I'm like, oh, this looks like it might be good today.
Yeah.
And then that's it.
That's a good way to putting things, I guess, because you just go with no expectations, and then when you come with the banger, it's fuck, this is dope.
Yeah. And there's been so many days where I've gone down thinking it was going to be shit, and it's not. It's crazy, and I'm like, oh wow,
it's just the sky's just burning.
Yep. Just glad I came outside.
What did you say? The best time is 5 to 10 minutes after the sun goes down. That's when the crazy clouds come
afterglow.
out.
Yeah. That's when the colors get really gnarly.
Yeah, and there has to be clouds too. If it's a clear sky, it's
right. You just know what you're getting. You're just gonna get this little orange gradient, and that's it.
Yeah, you might get a little pink hue, but nothing significant for where it shows in picture.
Right. Yeah. Nothing that's gonna make someone stop while they're scrolling. Right. Everyone's attention span is so short that you have to really wow somebody, otherwise.
Right,
not going to get their attention. So.
I had another question to ask you, but I kind of forgot.
What, pandemic?
It'll come back.
Should we go into what happened when you hit the peak, right?
Sure.
You're doing all these crazy numbers. You're making a shit ton of money selling prints. Then what happens? I remember you stopped posting. Not necessarily start posting, but what happened in between that time?
The pandemic happened, obviously. Did that? I mean, we might get a little bit deeper here, but
cool,
it's how did that mentally affect you? Were you? You were already working for yourself at the point at this time, right? And you're home as well, working from home, trying to avoid people probably. How did that really affect you? Are you a social butterfly by naturally, or?
So I'm not. I'm pretty introverted for the most part. I know how to handle myself in social situations just through practice, and some days I really like it, but I'm not always fully charged, ready to go.
For sure.
If I go have a real social experience, I'm out for days. Don't talk to me. I'm in the room. That's it. I'm done.
Love that.
But yeah, so I mean, before the pandemic happened, right before it happened, I had everything set up where I had a couple of recurring clients that I was doing work with every month. Everything was cool. All my finances were straight, and I was like, all right, cool. I can do this for a while and keep looking for stuff. And this was even before the print shop. I was just ready, rolling on those. Mm-hmm. And then obviously pandemic happened. Boom, I lost all of them. Mm-hmm. So I had zero income now. And I was like, all right, well, now I have time,
right?
I guess.
A lot of time.
Yeah, so I started doing different stuff at home, right? Making different tutorial type videos.
That's what I was going to ask you, the tutorials that you were making.
Yeah, and so I started making those mostly because people would ask me anyways, right? In DMs and stuff, hey, how did you do this or whatever? And I'm very open and free with, there's nothing I can teach somebody that's going to
It's already out there, man.
Exactly. It doesn't matter. Out there. It doesn't matter.
The fact that you put your camera gear there, like in every photo, like, all right, man, you have no excuse.
Yeah,
like,
there is no reason like to hide anything.
Yeah,
I never understand.
I never understood that either.
We always talk about in this podcast. You can put as much as gear. This is what gear I use, but the motherfucker out there is lazy and won't do it. Like he won't do it.
It doesn't matter.
I could teach you step by step how I do things, but you still won't get to what I'm producing because I always say the real work is post production, man.
Right. Yeah.
But you're actually showing the actual post production side on your end.
Yeah, and from my thought process, it was like, all right, cool. Well, even if you do get as good as me or better than me, fucking great.
Yeah.
Sick. Have fun, dude. Like I'm glad you learned something. High five. You know, like I don't care. So I started doing the tutorial videos and stuff like that just to kind of have those out there. Also, my other thought behind it was cool, photos doing what it's doing. This is cool. But how can I start looking for what's next? And I remember reading a thing that Instagram was working on monetizing for IGTV.
Right.
This is before TikTok blew up, obviously.
That was a dud.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I started posting those videos with the thought of just getting the views up so that when that became a thing, I was eligible. Yeah. Right. Obviously, that didn't end up happening the way that everyone thought it would, but it's cool.
They got rid of it too. Quick. You can still post video, long form video, either vertical or horizontal. But it's not called IGTV anymore. No. It's just regular post. Just like posting a regular video.
Remember when this happened? I posted like a couple weeks ago. I was like, "Why don't you fucking do IGTV?" I'm like, "Oh, it's not an IGTV no more.
It doesn't even exist.
It's not there no more."
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, Instagram is super interesting right now. How things are going, especially with this whole metaverse kind of thing. So who knows what's gonna happen now?
Yeah, and the reach on that video content is so dead, anyways.
It's man, it's weird.
A lot of people don't realize. Like, I've looked at enough numbers to be confident in saying hashtags don't work on video. On Instagram.
You know what? I trust your judgment because you're a numbers guy, you're an analytics guy, and you look at the insights.
They don't work.
Yeah, and I mean,
they don't work on carousels either.
Fuck.
Berto, do I disagree on that?
No, I don't. I mean, that's pretty.
They don't.
Didn't know that.
Your impressions will be super high if you get people to scroll. Like if the content's good, but if you post the same, one photo and then you post the carousel, use the exact same hashtags, you'll get way more impressions on the one photo with the tags because they actually work.
Because I've always learned that if you post carousels, you get more engagement because you're posting. It's new. It's technically a new content, I guess. New photos. Yeah. Compared to the one photo where if you scroll past that photo, you're never going to see it again because your second or third slide will pop up to the top of the feed again.
So I think there's just a big drop off in that somewhere, right? I haven't I don't have the numbers in front of me, right? But I think at some point, you know how it basically goes in like sections, right? So you'll get your first 1,000 impressions, you need X amount of reaction for stuff to continue, right? Mm-hmm. I think it gets cut off quicker on carousels than it does because if, say 1,000 people see it that haven't seen it before, but they only hit the second slide instead of all 10.
Right.
Then those numbers are going to start to do this. And that with the hashtags not working,
right.
You have hashtags working for you on one side, not working for you on the other. You're just counting on people actually engaging.
For sure.
Sometimes you can't count on
people.
Well,
there you hear it, guys. You heard it from the Instagram expert.
Yeah. I could be wrong.
Hashtags don't work on video.
In my experience, they don't work.
Or carousels. What about reels?
Reels, I haven't quite figured out yet because all my reels pretty much do the exact same numbers.
Really?
And I've tried with more hashtags, with less hashtags, with no hashtags. Right. They all do the same.
Because I started following this new strategy where I even told him because he usually posts it in the Frame podcast content. I said start doing 3 to 5 hashtags.
Yep.
Because I've been told 3 to 5 hashtags is the key.
It's like the gold.
I still haven't seen any fruitful results.
Same.
No, so bro. I started going even on my personal account. So I'm
back to original.
I'm going back to instead of using all 30, I'm using 15 to 20 now.
That's kind of in the range that I'm sitting in too.
Okay.
I have multiple hashtag lists in my notes like everyone does.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'll copy and paste them and just try them and whatever.
And I've also known, not known, but I've read this or seen this on YouTube, but because no one knows the algorithm. People at this point, people are just guessing.
You're just guessing.
They're just guessing. They're playing the trial and error game. And then I've also been told if you copy and paste it, it doesn't work. You need to actually type it in yourself in the actual caption.
I've seen and heard that too.
But
I have not seen that really matter though.
Right, because I've always been the copy and paste guy.
Me too.
And it's when hashtags used to work fucking crazy, I would have crazy impressions.
Yeah.
So I'm I don't know about that one.
Yeah.
But nowadays, who knows, man? Because I feel like low-key hashtags are dead. But going back to what we said earlier, people are still finding me through hashtags, though.
Yeah. I mean, because the content lives forever, right? So does the hashtag. So as long as it's there, if someone looks for it and they find you,
right,
that's all that matters.
Yeah, dude, man. So what's your hashtag game, bro?
I know nothing. Dude.
I know you're huge in social media.
Bro, I rely on word of mouth. When I do my photo shoots, I was like, just give my Instagram, because I don't like, you guys' game sounds crazy, dude. And all I care about is how much fucking money is going in my bank account. Yeah. So, I mean, word of mouth. The past 3 inquiries, this past 2 weeks, I've gotten to, hey, my friend recommended me, and then I see like who follows them, and it's like followed by blah blah blah. I'm like, oh,
shit, a mutual friend.
Yeah. Hashtagging, man, like I don't really get into it. It's either my look. I know my picture is gonna do justice. Either whatever, dude.
Yeah,
but this goes back to what you just said right now, man. That you said like, oh, right now you're kind of saying like my work speaks for itself.
Yes, that is true, but
you still need to find a way to like, generate new leads.
You're not hearing me. I said I rely on. I generate leads from word of mouth. That's what I rely on right now, and it's working for me. Hashtags. It's only worked for me like a couple times. A couple times where like.
What I'm saying is you can't just rely on one lane of finding clients.
I know.
I have a question, and it's in the same realm. So if you're counting right now on word of mouth as your main thing, right?
Yeah.
Why aren't you just doing hashtags also?
I mean, I am doing hashtags, but I'm half-assing it. I'm doing like you guys, like copying. I already have my like 6 or 7.
Then you're doing it.
You're the same role with us.
I'm not saying that, but I'm like, I don't put much thought into it.
Yeah,
but
I don't either.
I'm not saying that
I did at one point,
maybe
but
I should.
Yeah, well,
I should probably be doing it because maybe my income's double. But whatever. Like,
as long as you target like the San Diego or Southern California area, that's all you need.
There.
I'm not. Yeah. I don't know what the fuck. These 2 motherfuckers against me. How is this always happening to me, fam?
We're trying to help you make more money.
I'm always the fucking villain. I'm agreeing with you guys. Like I'm saying, like I don't rely on that. Like my strategy.
That's good
to know that
you shouldn't rely on it.
And it's good to know that you guys have this. I've always known Alberto's done it because he's always like, it's like, why the fuck are you using the same class? I'm like, bro, I'm sorry. Like I don't know. Like whatever.
Yeah.
Because I'm mostly posting on the frame, but for the most part, like for me, if it's my personal account, I'm only relying on like my 6, 7 or cycling. And after he told me, he's like, oh, dude, do 5 or 6. I'm only doing 5 or 6 now, but
I still haven't seen any significant number changes at all, though. But like, and even in Reels, man, like at least with us, like
bullshit, dude.
No, it's not that it's bullshit. Like
the numbers are bullshit.
The numbers are slowly decreasing from what we're seeing. It's like they're not before. Like they would hit 1,000 like instantly, almost instantly. Like it was so stupid. Like 5 minutes later, you got 1,200 views already. I'm like, how is this even possible? It doesn't even feel real, but we kind of just went with it. It's like whatever.
Right.
This is kind of cool. But now it's like we range around like the 5 to like 600-800 views.
Okay.
Where it's not like we're not breaking the 1,000 marker anymore, like we used to.
Yeah.
And I told him like recently, like, yo, man, we need to start fucking pumping every day. So I'm creating all the content. So like, hey, this is a schedule. We're pumping this piece of content and this piece of content. So we're posting almost every day. Yeah. We're probably posting like 5 at this point, like 4 to 5 days a week.
5 minimum a week.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe it takes a little bit longer to like kick in where the algorithm goes into our favor. So we're still testing shit too right now, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's probably a lot harder. Also, think about the content you guys are posting.
Okay.
Like you're posting to promote a podcast, which is cool, but you're posting basically just clips of you guys talking, which is good. But if the clips are only about like creative insight, you might be losing people just on the personality part of it. Like, you know, there's something there because my reels, so like obviously the stuff I post is literally just like silhouette, surfer, whatever. Like, you know, it just looks pretty.
Mm-hmm. It's eye candy.
Right. But there's no real substance to it. You know, you guys are providing substance in a space where people are looking for eye candy.
For
sure.
Know? Okay. So shit. That's a good way to
to defend us. I mean, not even defending us, but I'm saying like this thing is like we want stands, right? We're not looking for the one for that one like or that one like sticker. We're looking for the stands.
We're looking for the hardcore 100 to 1,000 fans.
Right.
But you're right, though. We are not providing eye candy that's like broad for everybody.
Yeah. Well,
like,
and the reason why I say that is not to diminish. But it's because, you know, you don't have a choice of who Instagram shows that to.
For sure.
Yeah.
And so if you guys are getting 1,000 quick and it stops or whatever, It's because they're just showing it to whoever. Your target audience is not dialed in right, so they're just showing it to people, and people are seeing it, but they're not liking, they're not commenting. So then it just stops.
Right. And the only reason
TikTok works the same way.
The only reason Alberto's bringing that up is because we would always I'm the one in charge posting the reels, and it's like, why the fuck is your reel doing better than this? Like, you have a cheat code or something, and it would be just because that's up to Instagram. Yeah. But now it's like, fuck, they don't give a fuck.
And I also wonder, like, if a page gets affected, if more than one person controls the page.
I've always thought about that.
I just thought about that right now.
If it affects it.
Yeah, like if it, because like we both have access to the account and it's different phones, so Instagram knows that, and I wonder if that somehow affects it. I don't know. Maybe overthinking it.
For what it's worth, the wrestling account that I do also have access to and post on, the reels do worse on there than they do on my personal or on my photography account. And that wrestling account, there is dual access on it. So I don't know if there's a way to prove it.
You might have a point, because like my personal reels do pretty decent job. I'm getting like 13 to 1,500 views consistently, but in the Frame podcast, you motherfuckers better start engaging. But I'm saying in the Frame podcast, since we both control it, they're not doing crazy numbers like they used to be.
Yeah.
So shit, you might have a point right there, man.
There's maybe something to that.
Yeah I never thought about that, man.
But yeah, if people if they're not liking and they're not commenting, that's on them.
That's the thing. Like I don't
they're
really,
messing with it.
At the end of the day, I just love talking about social media and like content. Like I'm in this world and I fucking just love it, bro. Like I'm not the person that's looking for all the high engagement, but it does give you like a little pat in the back, like, hey man, you're fucking kind of lit,
Yeah. But I mean, not only that, bro, you gotta remember, this is your fucking living. Like I'm not saying you have to rely on it, but that's how you get your fucking jobs. Like you've gotten some high end clients because of that. Yeah. And that's just like people. I hate talking about social media sometimes and getting into it, because I'm like, dude, you guys just care about likes. Like, no, like, dude, he's a freelancer. He relies on this shit. Like,
But this is his job. This go back to like what you're saying, like how to market yourself. Like social media is probably like, I probably get most of my clients to social media, like 75%. Yep. I'd say 10% goes to fucking my website and then word of mouth, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And
that's probably about the same with me also.
Right.
The majority of my stuff is all from social media. And I mean, I designed it that way, right? Mm. That's where I put everything. That's where I put a bunch of my time. And it was by choice, because I knew this platform has the biggest reach. Right. Other than that, what am I going to do? I can go walk down to every business and I can go introduce myself and do that. But I just told you guys, if I go have a day where I'm talking to people, I'm dead for 3 days. So like, and that's not the best way for me.
And it's a double-edged sword, like you were saying before, because like yes, you do get more reach, but at the same time, you do get a lot of bullshit inquiries.
Yeah. And then you're sifting through that too. So,
and you're wasting time going through each inquiry, because that could be a potential dollar, but and if it doesn't translate, it's like, fuck, that was just a waste of time. Like I
wasted 45 minutes quoting this person.
I was in a Zoom call for someone for like their 45 minutes, and it sounded like everything was going great, and then like, you know what's a little too expensive. I'm like, fuck, I wasted 45 minutes right there where I could have been doing editing or something like that. But it's just part of the game, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I find myself asking like so many questions, like anytime I get an inquiry, right? Because I want to find out right away. Man. I want to find out right away if this is even a job that I'm the right person for, dude. And I'm very transparent about, like, I don't want to waste your time, and I don't want to waste my time either. Like, my time is way too important to me to waste it on a job that is not for me.
Right.
And not even just the money part, just all of it.
Yeah. And I not just like that, but I also need to know, like, are we gonna get along?
Right.
Like, is there some sort of like chemistry? Like, do our visions align? Because if it's not, then it's gonna be fucking hell.
Right.
Like, I don't care how much money it is.
Neither one of us are gonna be happy. Right. So what's the point?
Yeah. No, I totally get it, man.
So now that so what are you doing right now? What's your life looking like? Do you have a part-time job? Do you do this full time still, or what's
so I still have no like regular form of employment at this point, so I'm still just kind of freelancing. Okay. I just recently started like picking clients back up again and doing that type of stuff.
I saw you've been pretty active lately.
This last like 6 weeks or so has been like the first time in 2 years that I've really like done a lot of stuff. Which has been good. It's been good for me, and it's been good to like find out that I can still make stuff. I think somehow also I think I got better by not doing stuff for like a year and a half, because my video works way better now. Yeah.
Were you practicing at home behind the scenes?
I did nothing. I literally did nothing. I played Call of Duty for 18 months. Okay. I played Warzone like a sweat for 18 months, and that's it.
That's hilarious. I was surprised you never got into the gaming space in the business side.
Just the main thought behind it was like, I have friends that do that, and for me, that doesn't mean as much to me as like people.
Okay.
So I like working with people more, telling people's story more than
interesting.
Than art.
It's so funny because like it's hard to tell because like you say you're an introvert, but at the same time it's like I want to work with people and.
Well, I like telling their story, right? It's not my story, and I don't really have to do anything because I'm telling their story through their action.
And look where we're at right now. We're telling your story.
Yeah, I know.
No, so you're good.
The next like 3 days, I'm gonna be laying down, zonked out.
Just like Call of Duty.
Yep. Just on Vanguard on the new one.
Nice. I was in comments like I don't know how you're an introvert. Like you have like one of the best eye contacts from our guests. Like you're pretty good at like shifting.
That's all the sales, baby.
Yeah, I was gonna say like he did say like I like how you say like everything's set by design. It's like all that skill and all that work that you've done in the past. It's like it's paying off.
Yeah, and I mean like I said, I don't like to waste time. You know, like that's one thing I've known my whole life, right? Is like time is really precious.
Of course.
So anytime I do anything, and I think this is why I was able to be, relatively successful quickly, not only just on Instagram, but also just like with changing the way my work was and getting it towards a more professional level was I spend a lot of time on my own prepping. So I will not go into anything unprepared because I don't want to look stupid and I don't want to waste time. So
first impression is everything.
I want to get it right the first time, every time, if I can. And obviously I can't every time, but you better believe 95% of the time, like I'm hitting it. I'm hitting the mark because I don't want to do it twice.
It's a grand slam.
So it's kind of been like my main focus with everything. Like everything was planned all the way through. And, not all of it works, but because I had a plan, I was able to stick to it. Like, eventually it works. Mm-hmm. You just got to navigate some of the smaller details as time goes on and things change,
Right.
Okay. So
fuck, man.
That's
You've
been
dropping some fucking gems, man.
I know.
So where do you see yourself like in the next
where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I know. Like
playing Call of Duty
the next 12 months, man. Like do you see yourself
Great
like
question.
still creating doc style?
I mean, I think it's really hard to say, right? Like stuff changes so much all the time.
Yeah, the goalpost is getting moved left and right.
Sure. And for me, like a lot of times I don't even know what my goalpost is. I really don't. Like some days I want to take photos, some days I want to do videos, some days I'm like maybe I should go back and get a regular job. Like it really just depends,
It's hard for me to see you getting a job, bro.
I mean,
so imagine being forced to socialize for 8 hours straight.
It's not easy.
I don't know how Pete does it. He comes here with energy in my fam. Like it's too much energy for me. Like
some people just
on the
got
phone
it like
all
that.
day.
Some people got it like that, man. I do not.
Are you on coke or something?
That's my half-ass smile right here.
Yeah. That's that customer smile. Yep. I remember
he's like miserable inside.
See my smile. 10 a.m.
Uh-huh.
So that's great, man.
Yeah. So in a year or whatever, like I said, I don't really know. I hope that I will still be creating stuff that I enjoy. That's really all that matters. Ever since I was a little kid, people always ask, like, what do you want to be? What do you want to do when you grow up? What do you want to be? My answer, literally, since I was a child, has always been, I just want to be happy.
Dude.
Like, I don't care. It doesn't matter.
Disney movie.
It sounds cliche.
It's corny, but it's the truth, man. Like,
but it's so.
I've had no money and I've had a good amount of money. Like it doesn't matter. Like
I agree.
Yeah, I just like to wake up, and I always say like I'm already successful because not financially, but I'm like,
right,
bro, I get to wake up and create content every fucking day, whether it's my content or for someone else. Yep. Like yesterday, even though I was doing content for some YouTuber girl from based on Toronto, and I was like super hyped, and she says like, I can tell you love doing this. I'm like, you damn right. Like just seeing a perfect frame is like, I'm getting fucking psyched, bro. It was like,
like that feeling when you're killing it is really good.
It was like
I did that last night. I did I was on LinkedIn like a couple weeks ago, right? And I was not sure what I wanted to do, so I was like, I'm just gonna apply for some stuff
for sure.
And they were all like creative type jobs, whatever. But so I ended up getting in contact with somebody, and so I ended up working an event with them last night. And it was just like a trial event thing, right? So I was like, all right, cool. Like, we're just going to, whatever. Like, I'm doing it for free. It's just, whatever.
Okay.
But as I started going, I was like, oh, I'm smashing this thing.
Yeah.
Like, I am smashing this thing. And so when the shoot was all over, I could tell they worked with a lot of different people. And they were like, okay, cool. So what do you think, like a week for the I was like, no, I'll have this to you tomorrow. Like, what do you mean a week? They only needed like a 60-second-ish like recap video.
Oh, okay.
I was like, no, I'm crushing this thing tomorrow morning. You better believe it.
That's good though, because like they will always remember that fast turnaround. It's like, hey man, remember Jonathan, man? He was pretty good. He pretty cool socially, and then turn around in 24 hours. Like, let's hit him up again.
And it's only because I was crushing it though. You better believe if I did a bad job on that shoot, if I wasn't prepared and went into that shoot and did a bad job, I would not.
What were you filming, if you don't mind me asking?
Like, what were they doing?
What was it that you were filming? Like
what was the event?
The event, yeah.
Yeah. It was like, it's like they have like a social like business group thing where they like get together and network. It's
networking
like a networking event.
Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
So, words.
Tight.
English.
Tight.
Yeah, got it. I love that you brought the turnaround thing because nowadays, man, like everybody's content is great. You know, cameras are coming. You can be a newbie and have a fucking high-end quality camera.
Yeah, you can pretty much throw it on auto and get by.
Yeah,
for the most part.
Yeah, so then the next thing that they're going to look at is like, what's your turnaround time? They're going to say, okay, all these people have this quality. It's like, what's the next thing? Turnover time. And turnover time, I hate saying this because, you know, you rely on turnover time to like spread your work and stuff. But shit, you think it's cutting short now? Like, do you have to have a quick turnaround time or it's just like whatever?
I mean, I just like to be transparent with what the work is and what I think I can do with it, you know? Right. If it's something that like I think I'm going to have to spend more time on, I'm not afraid to tell them it's going to be a week. And if they're upset with that, like...
And a week is what
it
they
is.
should
like,
not be upset with the week.
Right, but you know what I mean. Like some people's expectations are like, cool, like by midnight tonight. Like, you know, you just never know.
That's why I can never see myself doing like working on tour with an artist because you need to shoot that night and turn that bitch around in the morning because they posted that same morning.
Yep.
And then you get 2 hours of sleep and you have to get ready for the next show.
I saw a posting for a job like that not that long ago and someone sent it to me and I was like, there's no way I would ever do that.
Maybe if I was younger, I would definitely would.
Nah, not me.
Kind of do it.
Who was that DJ you sent me? Was it Black
DJ?
Yeah, it was like you were saying like how they were like in tour bus and like they were shooting. Oh no, it was one episode that a podcast a long time ago. He was a tour DJ or a tour photographer.
Yeah. Oh, he does DJ for the Chainsmokers.
Yeah, him. I was like, what
he explained his process like pretty much what I just explained right now. Yeah. And he's like, bro, you do that process for like 30 plus days straight because on tour you're touring almost every single day for the most part, and everyone's trying to party while you're trying to edit. You have headphones on, and then everyone's sleeping. You're still editing, and then it sounds fucking miserable.
What am I drinking,
It
bro?
sounds miserable, but I mean,
if you're the right person for it, great.
Yeah,
I'm not that person, so I'm cool with it.
I'm at the point where it's like that's not for me. Like I'm past that point in my life where before I did want to do that, but it never happened, and I was like, well, at this point, I don't really care. I'm doing pretty good for myself. I know that field of work is not the greatest pay,
right?
Based on what people have told me in the industry
and what the expectations are like
it's
for you. Like it's not worth it.
Yeah,
like,
you're like mentally destroying yourself. But that's another topic for another day.
Yeah, true.
Jonathan, you've been dropping some fucking gems, man.
Thanks.
I love what you're saying so far, and it's been an honor having you so far. But before we wrap up, can you tell us one horror story you had in the creative space and some sort of gig that you've done?
Yeah. So I have the one that always comes front of mind, and I've shared this a lot recently for some reason. I don't know why, but it just happens to come up.
Okay.
So the first shoot that I took based on a referral when I was doing video, like I'm talking 2019, like 3 months after I started, right? After I quit my job and started like full timing.
That's so ballsy, by the way.
Spill the beans.
Yeah. So I took this shoot, and it was for a yoga studio, like a Yoga 6 over here in Bresci Ranch.
Okay.
And I
fancy spot.
Yeah, exactly. And it was a referral, so like whatever. I talked to them, their expectations weren't that high, so I was like, all right, cool. Like I should be able to do this with what I have. I didn't have my EOS R, I just had the Rebel at the time.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, this should be fine. I had done one of the documentary things already, and like that work looked good. But the issue was I got lucky when I made the other stuff look good. So when I went to this shoot...
What do you mean you got lucky?
I got lucky, man.
You can't get lucky with video, bro.
I got lucky. Like, I just kind of knew what setting to put it in, and I didn't mess with anything, and it worked out.
Okay.
The lighting conditions just worked for me. When I got to this place...
Dark.
Underexposed?
Dark, dingy, like, it was... I thought it looked fine, right? Through my little small camera screen. Yeah. I was like, all right, this should work. Like, it worked for everything else. When I got home and put that footage on my computer, I sat there for a good, 15 minutes, just like, this is exactly what I didn't want to do. I ended up, so I went through, I tried to edit some stuff, right? I tried to color correct it. The colors were terrible. I didn't white balance it right.
Brought the exposure all the way out.
Dude, it was so bad. It was just so grainy. Like, I used I had ordered a lapel mic to use, and it was like a cheap ass lapel mic. Well, when I plugged it in, I thought it was working, and it wasn't working. So it was just audio straight from the camera. And so it was like inside this yoga studio. So it's super echoey, just like the worst audio you could have ever had. And it was supposed to be like some testimonials, and just like a little cute, B-roll of the place, right? I had like 2 little B-roll shots of like their merch that looked good. Everything else was hot garbage.
Sheesh.
And when I was halfway through the shoot, a guy from like Yoga 6 corporate or something showed up like with all of his gear, and he had like really nice stuff, and he was doing something separate, like for the brand, not for this location.
Gotcha.
And so I made sure to tell him, like, I mean, obviously, like, this guy's like really got some stuff here. He's gonna crush this. Like, mine's not gonna look exactly like his. No,
hey,
yeah,
bro,
no, totally. Like, we've seen your work. It's cool. It's like, all right, sick. But yeah, so I went home and I put it on my computer, and it was absolutely horrible. There was nothing I could do to even fix it. I put together 2 of like the worst edits I've ever done in my life, and I basically just emailed him and was like, hey, look, this didn't work out the way I thought it would. I have a couple different options for you. I can either A, come back and reshoot this, and we'll go from there. Or I can just send you what I have. If you want to use it, great. If you never use it, I don't blame you. And don't worry about paying me because I didn't live up to my own expectations for this. And sorry. And that's pretty much it.
So what did they decide?
They just had me send them the files, and I saw it one time.
Like, never call us again.
Yeah, basically. I saw it one time in an advertised post, and then like within 24 hours it was taken down. So like they like posted it, and then they were like, maybe not. And then took it down and whatever.
Well, okay, so I do respect the fact that you said, hey,
honest.
Yeah,
I fucked up. Don't even fucking pay me. Take the files, or I could do it again. I'm surprised they didn't take the shoot again. But I mean, you have to deal with scheduling and whatnot, so different other parameters that they deal with. But I still respect that because I feel like a lot of video artists would be like, I got paid, bro. Once that money hits your bank account, it's like, I don't want to give that shit back.
Yeah,
bro.
I mean, and I'm not in a position where like I wanted any like dirty money that I didn't feel good about. I didn't want to take advantage of these people. Like, they were super nice to me, and like, dude, it's just my fault. I botched it. Like, I didn't show up prepared, and that's the one time that I didn't show up prepared for.
So what is it that you
learned?
learned? What's the lesson learned?
I mean, was to not think I was better than I was the most important thing, because I think I did.
You got humbled down.
I had done a couple things, and I was like, yeah, I'm kind of good at this.
Get
like, I'm decent. Yeah, this will be fine.
He's still not
and so I just walked in and botched it. So definitely have not done that again since. And that's my fault, because going up to that, like leading up to that point, I had never walked into anything the way I walked into that. So you got to have your moment,
Yeah, man. You always got to like.
There it is.
Tomorrow, like I'm doing my probably like 20th wedding tomorrow, but the little difference is I'm going to actually shoot it by myself for the first time. So this is going to be a little bit different for me. Mm-hmm. So I'm a little not nervous, but like it's going to be more pressure.
Yeah.
So I need to like be extra prepared. Once this is done, clear my cards, make sure my batteries are juiced up and everything, and should be pretty good. What the fuck are you laughing?
I can imagine you being like, fuck! Like messing something up.
No, I'm pretty cool under pressure, man. I'm pretty cool under pressure, man.
That's good. Yeah. I try to do my best to prepare, but I still mess up. So if you do forget stuff, don't worry about it, because I showed up to the wedding last week with no belt, no memory card, and my battery was half dead. So, but I crushed that shoot. You better believe I crushed it.
Hell yeah. You always got to improvise, always. But Jonathan, man,
you have no choice, man. You just have no choice, man. It's all, when I think about filmmaking, man, it's all about problem solving. And I'm sure you've been in situations and shoots where it's like, oh fuck, the lighting is not as dope as I thought it was going to be. Let's change it up.
Yeah. It's always about making the client feel good. Like, there are those times where I've been in the shoot and I'm like, fuck, this isn't what I wanted. It might be a darker shoot. I'm like, how can I improvise? And you can't
show face. You can't show your cards. Yeah.
Like, you got to be like, this is looking beautiful.
Or however, right?
But inside you're crying.
The temperament just has to be right? Because of sales and stuff, like, I'm very quick to just be like, hey, you know what? This isn't working out the way that I thought it was going to work out. This is what I'm thinking now. So let's do that. So they're on the journey with me, right? If we succeed, great. If we fail, whatever. But I'm there with you the whole time.
The key is just fucking straight out be honest, man.
Set the expectations so that they're correct for both you and for the client, and go through that. If things get crazy, just tell them things are getting crazy. Like, at the end of the day, it's life, man. Like, stuff gets crazy every single day. So
right, but but we're just living in such a social media world where like everything looks so perfect in front of you. Like, you don't see the behind the scenes ever.
Hey, every time you watch a TV show, whether it's on actual TV or on Netflix or something, just watch how much those cameras shake and stuff. Like, we are so used to just staring at subjects that once it comes to our own work, we're like watching every corner and pixel peeping everything. Right. Like, there's a lot of work out there that people are getting paid a lot of money to make that is not better than what you guys are doing.
One last tidbit before we get into frame of the week. One thing I would suggest is I use my facial expressions a lot. Like, if the couple is like doing something and I don't like it, or like the lighting isn't good, I just go like, man, this ain't looking right, man. And they're like, oh shit, like what? Like, they panic. They're like, oh fuck, he's like looking at the camera, it's not looking good. And it makes them like kind of give like you kind of want to tell them to like give you suggestions, but not in a way to where like I don't know what the fuck I'm doing right now
because you're the expert.
Yeah, so like because they panic because they see your facial expression, like you're saying like looking at your camera and cursing, and they're like, well, what if we do this? And they're like, that was a good idea. I didn't think of that. And then they give you their perspective, and you can use that towards you, but you did reverse psychology. Yep. They didn't know that you were asking for help.
It's an interesting way of doing it because I don't know if I could ever look at the camera and cuss like fuck this shit sucks like in front of them. Like I can never.
That's just my personality, man. When you book with me, like that's what I am.
Yeah, I mean, but it works for you though. Clearly,
right.
But Jonathan, thank you, friend of the week.
Thank
we
you.
got that pulled up.
Before we do that, do you have one last tip for any creative out there that's watching this or listening to this, like that? Any sort of advice, business, starting photography, gear, whatever the fuck.
I mean, I would. The same thing I'd say to everybody is there is somebody making money doing the same level of work that you're doing right now. So I would say stay consistent, be true to yourself, and at the end of the day, just have fun.
There it is.
That's all you got to do.
Love it, man.
Exclusive from
you want to do some plugins, man?
Where can they find you, Jonathan? Where's your work, website, and all that?
So the only thing that I have at this point, I've deleted everything except for my Instagram. So
including your website?
Oh well. I have a portfolio website, but it's literally just like a portfolio work. It's not like, anything crazy. So, but yeah, just on Instagram at It's Jonathan Araujo, JonathanAraujo.
Yeah, you'll see it here in the lower thirds. And Pete, where can people find you?
PeterCollinsFrames.com, Peter Collins on Instagram.
And you can find me at _Mendoza_ on Instagram and AlbertoVisuals.com. Frame of the week is going to go to at Mavic Sky. Based out of Washington, D.C. and something pretty simple, but still pretty good. What do you think about this image?
A little banger. I like the dark greens. The edit's clean.
I like the tone. It's really moody.
Those yellow jackets just they hit really nice. In
those yellow jackets in a rainy environment, it just doesn't slaps, get much man. Better, it just slaps. Got a little foreground blur right there. It looks like he's doing some of his own photography there. So a little BTS action. But yeah, man. And the caption is, sometimes all I think about is you.
Dang.
Hopefully you get her back, bro. But
who hurt you, bro?
Congratulations, man, on being friend of the week, man. We really appreciate you supporting the Potter.
Thank you, bro. Thank you,
Jonathan, dude. It's been dope to have you here, man. It's been an honor, man. It's been a long time coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
One last thing you want to say?
I'm ready to wrap it up. Let's go home, baby.
Let's watch that Tiger King.
Yeah, time to go watch Tiger King and recharge.
Dang, I forgot about that. All right, that's gonna do it for episode number 60 with Jonathan. We'll catch you on episode number 61. Peace.